A biome is a biological community that is formed in response to shared physical climate. Biomes can be either terrestrial or land or aquatic. Up first is the desert. Deserts can be found in North America, Australia, and the southwest U.S. Here's a map of some of the deserts of the world. Deserts have very little rainfall. They can be hot or they can even be cold. Grassland. Grasslands are found in the U.S., Canada, Argentina, Russia, and even Turkey. They are dominated by grass. They have cold winters and hot summers and average rainfall. Savanna. It is similar to a grassland, but they are found in East Africa, South America, and they're known for having a wet and dry season and warm temperatures throughout most of the year. The rainforest, which is found at the equator, has little variation in temperature and lots of rain. The deciduous forest is found in North America, East Asia, Europe, and Norway. Many of the trees have leaves that fall off in the winter, and they generally have 4 seasons. A taiga can be found in Russia, Canada, Alaska, and Sweden. It is the largest land biome. You will find spruce trees and pines. They have short summers and long cold winters. A tundra has very little tree growth. It can be found in Russia and northern Canada and has low temperatures, which results in lots of shrubs and mosses. Under the aquatic biomes, you have the ocean. The ocean has high salinity and covers most of the world. An estuary is an area where you have the mix of salt and fresh water. And finally, under freshwater, it has a very low salinity, and you will find ponds, lakes, streams, and again, they have low salinity. So there is a list of some of the major biomes.
The earth is covered in living things. From very large organisms to the tiniest creatures, all living things on earth have one thing in common: they cannot survive alone. To grow and flourish, living things need the support of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is what we call all the things that interact in a specific area, both living and non-living. Ecosystems can be hard to define. They are interconnected in many ways, and it is not always easy to see where one ecosystem ends and another begins. Different ecosystems may look very similar or very different from one another, but all ecosystems are made of the same basic parts. Ecosystems have both living and non-living parts. The non-living parts of an ecosystem include things like sunlight and temperature, air and wind, the types and amount of water available, and rocks and soil. The living parts of an ecosystem are the plants and animals in it. The non-living parts of an ecosystem combine to create the conditions that will determine what kinds of living things will be able to survive there. You won't find a coral reef in the desert or cactus in the ocean because the conditions are wrong for them to live and grow. There are 3 main types of living things in an ecosystem: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers produce or make their own food. Usually they make their food from sunlight through photosynthesis. Plants are the most obvious example of producers. Without producers, no animal would be able to survive. That's because all animals are consumers and need to consume or eat their food. Some animals called herbivores get their energy from eating plants. Other animals, called carnivores, get their energy from eating other animals. There is a third group of animals called omnivores. Omnivores get their energy by eating both plants and meat. Humans are an example of omnivores. Finally, there are the decomposers. Decomposers are generally bacteria and fungi. They consume dead plants and animals and break them down into nutrients that are released into the soil. These nutrients are used by producers like plants to help them grow, and the cycle begins all over again. The living things inside an ecosystem form a community. Within the community are many different populations. A population is made of all the members of one specific species. For instance, all of the plants and animals on the savanna make up the savanna community. Within the savanna, all of the zebras make up the zebra population. All of the acacia trees make up the acacia tree population. And all of the lions make up the lion population. All the parts of an ecosystem must work together to reach a balance that allows each of the members of the system to thrive. For example, in a balanced ecosystem, predators keep the population of rabbits from growing too large, because when there are too many rabbits, they eat too many plants. If rabbits ate too many plants, the plants would not be able to grow back fast enough, and other animals that need the plants would not have enough to eat. Without enough plants, the animals that depend on them for food would start to die, and the soil begins to erode or wash away, which makes it harder for new plants to grow in the future.
Shrouded in a blanket of clouds, they awaken. Their canopies of green glitter in the sun. Their wildlife start to slither, chirp, and growl. And one of the planet's richest ecosystems. Rainforests are the oldest living ecosystems on the planet. Some can trace their origins to over 70 million years ago, back to a time when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth. Tropical rainforests are primarily located in warmer climates between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. As their names imply, tropical rainforests are the wettest forests on Earth, receiving up to about 33 feet of rain per year. This precipitation plays a critical role in creating an exceptionally lush and biologically diverse habitat. While rainforests only make up about 6% of the Earth's surface area, they are home to over half of the world's plant and animal species. This biodiversity creates benefits that extend far beyond the rainforest boundaries. Rainforest plants produce an assortment of food items, in addition to ingredients useful in everyday products and medicines. In fact, an estimated 70% of the plants used in cancer treatments are only found in rainforests. On an even larger scale, rainforests help to stabilize the planet's climate. Its lush green vegetation regulate global temperatures by absorbing massive amounts of radiation from the sun. They also absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide and convert them into oxygen, about 40% of the planet's breathable air.
The savanna is a type of biome with large stretches of grasslands mixed with trees and shrubs. It is a mix between a tropical forest and a temperate grassland. Savannas have warm temperatures year-round. There are actually two very different seasons in a savanna: a very long dry season in the winter and a very wet season in the summer. In the dry season, a savanna may receive only 4 inches of rain. The dry season is between December and February and has occasional fires. In the summer, it may rain often, and this biome may receive up to 10 to 25 inches of rainfall. Savannas are located in Africa, Brazil, India, and Australia. The savanna we are most familiar with is the East African savanna. This savanna is dotted with trees and shrubs. The Serengeti Plains of Tanzania are some of the most well-known. Here animals like lions, zebras, elephants, and giraffes are found. Many animals in the savanna have the ability to migrate. Many types of grasses exist in the savanna, and this biome is known for the acacia trees and baobab trees. Plants of the savanna have the ability to grow in this environment of long periods of drought. They may have long roots to reach the water table, or thick bark to resist fires, trunks that can store water, and even leaves that drop during the winter to conserve water. Fires are an important part of the savanna. During the dry season, fires clear out old grasses and make way for new growth. Most of the plants will survive because they have extensive root systems which allow them to grow back quickly after a fire. So there we go, the biome called the savanna. Large animals, occasional trees, and grass.
Beneath this dense green canopy of tall, stately treetops, the sun, searching for a place to shed its light, caresses the leaves and the forest floor below. Birds sing, monkeys cackle, wings flap. Something somewhere hisses, leaves rustle, and crystal streams murmur as they meander beneath the canopy. Everything in harmony. That is the symphony of the tropical rainforest. They are nature's own tropical greenhouses. Covering a mere 6% of the Earth's surface, rainforests are home to more than half of the world's plant and animal species. Additionally, the tropical rainforest, the kind found here in the Caribbean, is the Earth's oldest living ecosystem. Two basic conditions are needed for formation and existence of tropical rainforests: warm temperatures and plenty of rainfall. The tropical rainforest has three layers: the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. The top layer, the canopy, is made of the treetops, which can grow to well over 200 feet high. Up here in the canopy, one can easily find animals such as apes, monkeys, snakes, and tropical birds. Smaller animals like anteaters dwell in the understory layer. Here can be found many small trees and shrubs. Down on the forest floor, the soil is very poor, since it is only the top few inches of the soil that is fertile. The richness of this thin top layer results from the decomposing plants and other biological activity taking place between microorganisms. However, the subsoil is simply infertile clay. Mainly insects live in this layer, though it is quite common to see large mammals such as jaguars prowling about on the forest floor. At daytime, the rainforest can be amazingly peaceful and quiet. So quiet that you can actually hear a single leaf falling. During the day, the rainforest remains a den of tranquility. Two-thirds of the world's plant species can be found in the tropical rainforests. The lush greenery of Guyana's Iwakrama forest makes it only one of 4 last remaining pristine forests of the world. Over 1,500 species of flora have been identified in this forest, which covers a vast expanse of 1 million acres. Our rainforests are not only full of diverse plants but animals as well, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth, like this black caiman, the world's largest caiman, or this giant river turtle, the world's largest freshwater turtle. These two rare creatures can be found in Guyana's Iwakrama, along with America's largest cat, the jaguar. Iwakrama also contains the highest numbers of fish and bat species for any area its size. This healthy animal population that includes 500 bird species, 200 mammals, and 150 species of amphibians and reptiles helps to make the region a prime conservation and ecotourism area within Guyana and the Guyana Shield. Humans also inhabit the rainforests, most of them indigenous peoples like the Makushi people of the Iwakrama forest. Unparalleled in their untold biodiversity, our tropical rainforests are extremely important to the Caribbean and the world. Besides providing an important habitat for half of the world's species, tropical rainforests play a significant role in maintaining regular rainfall. Each year, the Blue Mountains receive more than 300 inches of rain, providing water for nearly half of Jamaica's population. The plants of the rainforest regulate global weather. By absorbing carbon dioxide, they help deter the greenhouse effect. From food to fuel to shelter to jobs to medicines, our rainforests help meet basic human needs. They have given us chemicals used to treat leukemia and other cancers, arthritis, hypertension, glaucoma, skin diseases, and even heart conditions. The United States National Cancer Institute has identified that 75% of the plants used in cancer treatment are found in the rainforest. How wonderful and majestic are the rainforests of the Caribbean, with trees rising so tall like green giants in their own forest kingdom. Every creature, every plant, every root, every rambling stream exudes the unmistakable power of nature, each holding its own story of life and mysteries untold.
Tropical savannas refer to captivating pockets of trees and other natural botanical life within large expanses of grasses and shrubs. The wide range of vegetation in these savannas supports high levels of biodiversity. While they are mostly located on plains, they can also be found on rolling hills and valleys. Savannas occur in tropical regions owing to soil conditions, climate, and human activities like fires or agriculture, all of which limit primary productivity. Primary productivity refers to the production of organic substances, including plant tissue, through photosynthesis. In tropical savannas, the primary productivity is either too low to support respiration associated with the woody tissues of trees, so that woody structures are unable to thrive or are destroyed. The Repo savannas of Trinidad are an example of edaphic savannas in that they develop primarily as a result of characteristics of the soil and not because of climatic condition. Primary productivity is therefore extremely low and cannot support the respiration required by larger plants. As a result, plants remain small and stunted, except where there are pockets of fertile soil. The Rupununi savannas of Guyana, on the other hand, are an example of climactic savannas. The rainfall in these areas is seasonal, so primary productivity is very restricted for at least half of the year. The vegetation needs to cope with either drought or periods of water logging. Ponds are therefore a common feature of the Rupununi savannas. These ponds generally dry up in the dry season, although some have water all year round. A broad variety of plants have adapted to wet and dry conditions and exist in and around the ponds. However, woody plants such as deciduous trees can still dominate if there are no fires in the climactic savannas. But grasses, herbs and sedges usually dominate because fires do occur periodically and destroy the woody vegetation. In other parts of the world, such as the East African savannas, animal grazing serves the same function as fires in removing primary productivity and destroying the woody vegetation. Fires may occur naturally as a result of lightning strikes during thunderstorms. However, in certain parts of the Caribbean, human activities such as slash and burn agriculture and unregulated burning for clearing are thought to be the main source of fires. Savannas therefore tend to increase at the expense of dry deciduous forest in the presence of humans. It is thought the dry deciduous forest was far more extensive in the neotropics during and at the end of the last ice age. Savannas are ecologically important areas because of their rich biodiversity. The Repo savannas are home to some 457 different types of plants, many of which are rare or threatened species. At least 2 species of grasses and herbs are endemic to the area. This means that they are found only in the Repo savannas. 128 species of birds have been recorded. It is one of the few places in Trinidad and Tobago where the red-bellied macaw and the Maurice oriole are found. The Rupununi savannas of Guyana also contain an exceptional diversity of wildlife. They are home to a number of Amerindian villages that depend on the waterways of the savannas for their subsistence.
The savannas are also important because we have the Makushi tribe, the communities of Amerindian people who have been populating the savannas for many centuries. They have a very symbiotic relationship with the savannas. They started out as hunters-gatherers, dependent on the resources of the forest and the savannas to provide them with their shelters, their food, their sustenance. Their cultures are very closely tied with the savannas and the mountains.
We benefit from hiking, we benefit from boating, we benefit from boarding, we benefit from all these things.
The rivers of the Rupununi are filled with huge caimans, the world's largest water lilies, and a variety of colorful birds.
The Caribbean boasts of some of the most diverse swamps in the world. Mangrove swamps, a major community of living, thriving organisms, line the hundreds of miles of twisting rivers and creeks along our coast. This is magnificent canoe country. Swamps are a type of wetland dominated by woody plants. There are two main classes of swamp: forested swamps and shrub swamps. Shrub swamps are the type of swamps found here in the Caribbean and feature mostly shrub vegetation such as dogwood and mangrove. They are found along slow-moving streams and along coastal areas in tropical and subtropical regions of the world. Mangrove swamps are defined by salt-tolerant trees and shrubs which can tolerate the harsh conditions. Mangrove trees dominate Caribbean wetlands because they can survive in both salt and fresh water. They develop in protected areas like bays, lagoons, or estuaries. Red mangrove, black mangrove, and white mangrove are the three types of mangroves typically found in the tropics. The red mangrove is easily recognized by its unique arching roots. Black mangroves, which grow more inland, have roots that project upward, supplying plants in submerged soils with air. Unlike the other two, white mangroves have no exceptional root structures. As the mangrove root system grows, it becomes more tangled, extensive, and close to impenetrable. It acts like a seed, with bits of seaweed, dead organisms, leaves, practically anything that can be carried by water, collects and gets trapped. Flushed by the ebb and flow of the tide, mangrove swamps are constantly refueled with nutrients carried by freshwater runoff from the land. This shifting world of mud and sand is home to a bursting population of creatures, some of them rare and endangered. Mangroves, with their dense network of roots, help to expand and stabilize the coastline, preventing erosion of the shoreline. This is perhaps the most important ecological function of mangrove swamps. The leaves of mangrove trees store the sun's energy as well as the nutrients in the silt carried by upland rivers. Mangroves grow and shed leaves all year round. The leaves that fall from these trees provide a food supply for marine life and other microorganisms. Thus, mangrove swamps act as important nursery and feeding areas for a wide variety of living organisms. Furthermore, mangrove swamps help improve water quality, regulate the global climate, and even protect coastal areas from hurricane damage by acting as wind buffers. Additionally, the swamps filter polluted or silted land runoff before it reaches the ocean and destroys the ecosystem. On the economical side, these swamps are a source of food through fishing, agriculture, and aquaculture. Even the leaves of mangroves produce a type of honey. Quite a number of people use the leaves of certain plants to make thatching for roofs, hats, and many other handicraft. Mangrove wood can be used to build boats, houses, and furniture. Ecotourism is one more valuable role of mangrove swamps, promoting public awareness of the importance of these areas. Mangrove swamps. They are just as spectacular as any of our Caribbean natural wonders. The human mind can only begin to imagine the fascinating world that exists inside the twisted roots and lush vegetation of the mangrove swamp. We should make every effort to ensure that these wonders are around for future generations to marvel at.
upright, no one can broke my vibes. I me no care who I fight, I know I criticize, I'm on the higher heights. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to, it's no concern to me. Because I have my own vision, me dep on my own mission to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day.